the one and only Tony Dungy, who joins us on the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line. Tony, congratulations.
Thank you, Mike. And Mike, is just I'm still just unbelievable how much emotion and memories and this whole thing. The Hall of Fame crew is so spectacular, but to be honored like this, it's just crazy.
You know, we're so used to, as a player, you're so used to giving your autograph and writing your number down. And then as a coach, I don't know what you put down. I don't know if you put HC after it, but now you can put HOF. So the first time, because I'm sure you signed a million things leading up to this, the first time you got to put HOF after your name, how was that?
It is special, and when people request it, that's what gets to you. And I've had a few this weekend where I just signed my name, as you say, Mike. You used to doing it 1,000 times, and then the person will say, "Can you put that HOF on there?" And you say, "Sure."
Tony Dungy is with us. I was following your adventures over the weekend, if you will, over your social media and all the pictures with your family and everybody else. And what would you pick out as the thing from the weekend you think you'll remember the most?
Well, two things. Number one is standing up on the podium and seeing my whole section and most of my family being there dressed in Colts blue and in one section, and realizing we had everybody together, including some of my cousins and uncles that I had not seen in a long time, and everybody there to support you. That was great. But I have to say that standing on the podium the first night, Thursday night, in the Gold Jacket ceremony, you walk down through the other Hall of Famers to get your jacket and realize that, in that group, there's Lem Barney and Jim Brown and guys that I'd watched growing up on TV. And then there's teammates of mine, John Stallworth and Lynn Swan and Franco. And then there's guys that you coached, John Randall and Chris Dolman and Derek Brooks and Warren Sapp. And you say, this is just unbelievable, this group of men. And then at the end of this line, I'm going to get my jacket and join them. And it's pretty surreal. Those were two great moments for me.
I watched it. It was very cool,
yeah.
That tunnel that you go through with the Gold Jacket to get yours. I thought an interesting choice, and we talked a lot about it the other day, was that you guys got serenaded by Paul Anka, but who still sounds wonderful at 75 years old. That was pretty cool as well. But we all know the story of, obviously, player, coach, the teammates that you mentioned. But I love, and I know you talked about it, but if you could just, expound upon it a little bit here. I love the road that nobody sees to get you where you are, whether it was a player or as a coach, the influences on you as a young person that made you the Hall of Famer that you are.
No doubt about it. And you don't know at the time that you're going through it, but God just orchestrates things so well. And he was preparing me to be a coach the whole time. My high school coach really being demanding on me, Dave Driscoll, and saying that you got to learn the game. You've got to I was a quarterback, and you've got to study the game plan and know it as well as I do. And I thought he was being hard on me, but he was developing me into those leadership roles. Cal Stahl, my coach in college, and Tom Moore was my quarterback coach, and he actually came and got me on my recruiting trip because I'd never flown before. I was afraid to get on the plane, and he came and got me, went on the plane with me, and then 30 years later, he's our offensive coordinator in the Super Bowl. Not getting drafted was a real big disappointment to me, but I ended up signing with the Steelers and working under Chuck Noll, playing for him, learning from him, and then meeting up with all these guys who were just such great examples. Donnie Shell, who presented me, was just fantastic. I'm at his heels trying to learn how to play safety, and he's teaching me, yes, about the game, but how to be a man, how to be a Christian husband and father, and that helped me in my development. And then getting traded a couple times and going to different places, playing for Bill Walsh, being under Eddie DeBartolo, going to Kansas City and Lamar Hunt, and just seeing how championship organizations function. And at the time, you're wondering, boy, how do I get cut? How do I get traded? Why did I get fired? But in the end, the Lord works it out in a way that you look back on all of it and say, man, this was a special journey.
A long journey that ends all the way in Canton, Ohio for Tony Dungy over the weekend with Mike and Mike. And again, our congratulations on that. One other thing I'd like to ask you about, unfortunately, it's such sad news, but we've not had a chance to talk to you since it happened. The first time I met Tony Dungy, I was a producer of a sports radio show in Chicago. And, Tony, when you were the defensive coordinator for the Vikings, you probably don't even remember this, but like 2 hours before the game, you would actually come out and do interviews with us, like on game days, stuff, like unheard of stuff like that. And at that time, you were the defensive coordinator under Dennis Green. And Denny worked here with us at ESPN for a while, and we got to know him a little, but obviously not nearly as well as you did. And we've not had a chance to ask you to share some of your thoughts on his really sad passing of a few weeks ago.
Yeah, that was devastating to me, too, because I was looking forward to him being here and just saying thank you. He hired me in 1992, defensive coordinator, and he put me in position to be a head coach. He taught me things, wanted me to succeed, and not only with me, but with Tyrone Willingham, Brian Billick, Mike Tice, and everybody that worked for him. He was special, and I just miss him so much, and it was just so devastating to hear. But he did so much for me, and I could never thank him enough.
Yeah, really, at 67, much too young, losing that guy, without a doubt. You know, you mentioned going through the line, seeing some of the players you had coached, but you got to stand up there on the podium or on the stage with somebody that you coached. Talk about that for a moment. You know, the Marvin Harrison and Peyton Manning, who's going to be there, obviously, in a few years as well. They can make a head coach look awfully good, can't they?
They can and did, and that was kind of the crazy thing for me. I was nominated 3 years ago, and could have gone in with Derek Brooks, and it didn't happen. Last year, quite a few of us, and Bill Polian, Marvin, and I, and it didn't happen. But to go in with Marvin, it was just kind of symbolic of all the great players that you had. But to be able to go in with one of your players and be able to talk through the week and the memories and just the special feeling of togetherness, it's something I'll never forget. I'm glad it happened this way. And I have to tell you about Marvin, if you saw his speech, I've never seen him that outgoing, that bubbly, that loose, and just he was so happy, and it was just a joy to go in with him.
Yeah, Peyton Manning was on and telling us how you never saw a guy in such great shape who ate so much junk food in his life either. He was amazed by that.
From Philly, which you would know about.
I knew all about that, but all I know is it didn't make me look good or run faster. It had the opposite effect on me. Real quick, Coach, on in the line of, boy, you think you've seen it all. The game was canceled last night. The game where you were going to be honored by paint. I mean, that was one nobody saw coming. What were your thoughts as you saw that developing?
I felt so badly for the Hall of Fame because this week they did a great job, and this was supposed to be the icing on the cake, and it didn't happen. I saw that the end zones that they couldn't get cleaned up. They really worked on the midfield section and probably had that playable, but it's just unfortunate. And as you know, the night before, there are chairs and platforms down, and you really can't see the field. So it was just a quick, couple of hours after they got everything ready to play, and it just wasn't right. So I think in fairness to the players and the safety issues, they did the right thing. But I felt so badly for the Hall of Fame to not be able to see that crowning moment of the weekend.
Tony Dungy, his crowning moment came Saturday night as he took his rightful place in Canton, Ohio, with all the other members of the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Congratulations, Tony, and thanks very much.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you, guys. It was spectacular. Thank you.
See you soon. Tony Dungy.